Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Dan Edlebeck. Dan Edlebeck is the Director of Ecosystems at Phi Labs, known as the Architects of Archway. As a connector of thought leaders and doers in the blockchain space, Dan builds diverse networks to achieve high-impact goals. With 10 years of experience in business development, marketing, and operations, he fosters strategic partnerships and grows virtual and in-person communities. Armed with technical knowledge and industry experience, Dan can speak to your dev team or your grandma about the value of your tech stack. Relentlessly entrepreneurial and optimistic, he leverages lean resources to drive impressive results. Propelled by an ambitious vision to make the world a better place, he's interested in harnessing the capabilities of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. Well, good afternoon, Dan. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Brian. Appreciate you having me back on.
Absolutely. This is awesome. And I love this space. As you know, we're heavily invested in the blockchain space. Our publication is also duplicated out on the blockchain. So we're really excited about these types of projects and getting the word out there. So Dan, again, thank you for jumping on. You've got some exciting news happening. Obviously, you've been named as a new director, and we'll get into that here in a second. But let's just jump right into the questions here. Again, like I said, glad to have you back on the show. But as you know, we at Coruzant are blockchain enthusiasts. Being that your platform is built on blockchain, as we mentioned, I've been following you on your latest kind of events that have been kind of unfolding here and your enthusiasm around it, of course. But could maybe you talk about us your new role as the Director of Ecosystems at Phi Labs?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, I'm very excited about it. Phi Labs is one of the core contributors to the Archway protocol in blockchain. And in my role, I'm helping to really grow out the go-to-market and marketing for the protocol, as well as helping to build a exciting and strong community, and then also helping to connect with a lot of the builders in the ecosystem that are building great applications and infrastructure to support Archway.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate the share. Like I mentioned before, you really know this industry very well, know a lot of the players out there. So I appreciate you sharing that. Switching gears, let's talk about Archway. They're known as the value capture chain. And in your new role as Director of Ecosystem to support this project, what is your main priority other than supercharging its growth in ecosystems like you've done in the past?
Yeah. So like you said, Archway is the value capture chain, and it's a protocol where developers that are building interesting applications and gaining traction and bringing users and transactions on chain are enjoying in the upside of the value that they're creating. So they're able to capture that value instead of it going to the original layer one blockchain. I don't know if you've heard, Brian, of the FAT protocol thesis, but it's this concept where popularized a lot by VCs, where if there's going to have activity happening on chain, then that value is going to accrue back to the base layer protocol and not to the actual app developers and applications that are bringing that value. And our founder, Griffin Anderson, is the founder of Phi Labs and initially had the idea for a blockchain that flipped that narrative on its head and is actually bringing value back to the developers that are creating the applications, that are bringing the users and are actually bringing the value. So that's what Archway is all about. And my role at Phi Labs is to help, like to your point, grow out the ecosystem, grow out some of the best applications to come onto the chain, as well as helping to build a robust community and also plan out the go-to-market strategy as Archway rolls out the mainnet.
That's awesome. And I love that, truly that value capture chain, really looking at the long-term sustainability of a project and incentivizing our users to be and to adopt this particular chain is just awesome. So I appreciate you sharing that. I think this is a great model to have in this particular ecosystem.
Yeah. And to your point, actually, Brian, that's one thing that I think Archway really differentiates itself. A lot of layer one blockchains are competing kind of on the same axis of like transaction speeds, or are focused exclusively on privacy. But Archway isn't competing at like a technological level on like amount of transactions per second. Archway is thinking about the sustainability economically. And how do you design a chain that has long-term sustainability and doesn't have extreme inflation and doesn't only accrue value back to the layer one, but provides a infrastructure for application developers to actually be able to build and generate sustainable revenue for their applications.
That's awesome. Thank you for elaborating a little bit more on that, Dan. That's awesome. So Dan, as far as tech is concerned, can you share anything about the tech stack that you're utilizing today within that Archway project?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Archway was initially incubated out of Tendermint, which was the company that built out a lot of the core infrastructure for the Cosmos ecosystem and Cosmos tech stack. So the Cosmos software developer kit, the SDK, Tendermint, which is the consensus mechanism, and IBC, the Inter-Blockchain Communications Protocol, and all the kind of key pieces that have made the Cosmos ecosystem very resilient and really powerful. And a lot of those engineers actually are on the Phi Labs team. Since Phi Labs split independently from Tendermint almost 2 years ago, a lot of the engineers have stayed with Phi Labs. And so they have been contributors towards some of the core tech for the Archway blockchain. And what makes Archway unique is its custom modules built into the chain that allow for that sustainable economic model. So there's modules that provide the ability for smart contract developers to create a premium that individuals can pay, like a tariff for every time that their smart contract is interacted with. And not only that, but the gas that's paid on the network, a portion of that goes back to the smart contract developer addresses. And then also the inflation yield that's paid out for the growth of the ecosystem. That is also a portion of it paid out to smart contract developer addresses and instead of all of it going to validators. So it's a really unique design, but the design took a lot of customization to be able to build these modules built into the chain to provide this bedrock for more economic sustainability.
Thank you. Appreciate you diving in and getting into the weeds of that, because a lot of the folks here on our audience love to understand a little bit more about what you're doing and or what the technology is used. And I just love the fact that we're giving back and incentivizing those that are putting in, their time and investment into this. This is awesome. Dan, last question of the day. Can you weigh in on the state of blockchain, Web3, crypto, and its future with all this volatility around the doom and gloom and the naysayers of this industry?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, there's this trope like Bitcoin solves this and this concept. And I think it's kind of like a joke on crypto Twitter that like Bitcoin fixes every problem. And I'll be the first one to acknowledge that blockchain is really a powerful technology, but it doesn't solve every single problem. And it's not that like crypto and blockchain is going to replace every industry and everything is going to completely be upended. But there are really powerful use cases where this technology enables really powerful solutions. And so even, Brian, with your media company and publishing its works on chain, that makes it immutable and being able to be forever accessible. That's really powerful technology. And some of these immutability, uncensorability about blockchain, the ability to give global access to financial applications and financial products that otherwise users might be precluded from, to things as basic as being able to get access to equities that someone might not be able to get access to because they're not a part of that country or jurisdiction to be able to trade those equities, and now being able to trade those types of equities on a blockchain. The types of use cases are really powerful. And I'm excited to see kind of the different applications that are born out over the next 5 to 10 years that gain significant traction. I think it's a good kind of analogy as to the internet, where the internet was, born, but didn't really take off for a couple of decades after its inception. The concept of blockchain technology and the first network really got incepted in 2009 in Bitcoin. And really kind of the industry started to gain some traction in 2014, 2015 with Ethereum. So we're really like less than a decade in. And I think that it's easy to kind of focus on the here and now and have naysayers and say that like a lot of these like big promises or dreams haven't all been fulfilled. But there's more and more talent that's pouring into the industry that's developing more and more innovative technologies. Archway, I think, is at the forefront of that with economic design. And, over the coming years and decades, I think we're going to be able to look back and really see the profound impacts of the industry.
Awesome. Thank you. And that, again, gives us a little bit of reassurance and really kind of grounds us, right? The reality of blockchain and crypto and where we're at. And like you said earlier, it's not the silver bullet or one solution that fits everything. It's going to make everything just make the world go around, right? But I appreciate your honest opinion on it. And we certainly appreciate that. Dan, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Brian. We'll stay in touch.
Bye for now.